Hello, my name is Cupid, or Swap, or whatever other name you may know me by. Before we start this video, I want to get a few things out of the way. A couple of warnings and such. For starters, please do not attempt to contact or harass any of the parties mentioned. Although the main person I'm going to be talking about has done some undoubtedly shady stuff, like very shady, very bad, it still isn't morally correct to attack anyone for it. As much as they deserve to be shamed and need of punishment, I think the internet just knowing what this creator did is punishment enough for him. I'm going to be in no way defending this creator, as they've done, like I said, very shady and bad stuff. But I still stand by what I say, as nobody should try and attack this person. Yes, I know in the head it sounds very correct to attack someone for the stuff that I'm going to be saying. I'm going to say everything he's done. It's very bad. Like, yeah, let me just get the warnings out the way too. The video is going to be mentioning rape. It's kind of just that. And child. That's very bad. Really, really bad. Not a good look, Jake. Not a good look at all. But if you don't want to hear those topics, you can watch other videos about it, or just not watch any videos at all. But yeah, I think the most easiest way to introduce this guy is by his songs. His two famous ones being Play My Way, some type of Amanda the Adventurer song, and Jack's Toy. I'm very sure a lot of people heard of Jack's Toy. It was very, 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 very famous, although it was created 2 years ago. I think it started getting bigger last year. Jakeneutron is a song artist, both big on YouTube and Spotify. I remember I used to listen to a lot of his songs. There was some type of robot song. I don't know what the game was about, but I liked that one. I liked his Inside Out to, what was it, Anxiety song. I definitely listened to Jack's Toy before it got really, really popular. I listened to a couple of other his songs, but I've heard of him without actually knowing who he was. I really liked his songs. But he was also mainly famous on TikTok as well. He created catchy songs to games and series he enjoyed, and I think he really enjoys The Amazing Digital Circus, as not only did he create Jack's Toy, yes, he created Jack's Toy, but he was also on his way to try and create another The Amazing Digital Circus song about Ragatha. I don't think after this he's gonna really be continuing making that Ragatha song, or let it be known any other songs, as what he did was undoubtedly the most messed up thing you can do and or say. Very, very gross. He's not going to be continuing making any of these songs. It's a shame. That Ragatha song, I was listening to it on TikTok. He was doing a little like sneak peek. Oof. It was, I love Ragatha. Ragatha is the best character in Amazing Digital Circus, no doubt. Whatever. Anyway, I imagine he was probably trying to do this to try to make it like another very popular song like Jack's Toy. In fact, Jack's Toy was so popular, Jake had made a trend where if artists draw Jax in the song dancing, I believe, I can't really remember what the goal really was, but I knew in the end they'd receive a drawing tablet. So for literal weeks on end, all I got on my For You page was this dang song with various animations. Very beautiful, don't get me wrong, they were very beautiful. There's some that are still ongoing that they haven't completely finished, because I knew they were given a very short time limit, I believe, because I mean, if you aren't an artist or if you don't do animation, you should very much know it takes so long to make even like a 2-minute video of an animation. If you want it to be very fluid, if you want it to be very beautiful the way you want it, it takes a lot of patience and time. So these artists were given like a very kind of short timeline to create this animation with this song just for a drawing tablet. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a very good one, I believe. I'm gonna look back on TikTok what it was, the rules, everything. I'll show it on the screen, but it was for a drawing tablet, and I think that's all it was. Yeah. But beside this trend, Jake had gotten lots of traction. I mean, he was famous now. He was in the big leagues. I'm famous, mom. But why stop at being famous, right? Like, come on, let's add some spice to it, right? On the 12th of May this year, Jake had published a sort of response, if you may, saying, "Sorry this took so long. I want to address those screenshots," which we will get to. Thank you for taking the time to read. And then we're given trigger warnings for rape and sexual assault before the actual response. Now, before we even get into what these screenshots are, I want to read his response first, which it's very vague if you aren't given context to what's happened. He tries to give context, but it doesn't. It's very, very vague. Let's just read it. All right, so I have my phone here. We're gonna read what this says. It starts with addressing the screenshots. I want to start by apologizing for taking so long to make a statement. I want to be sure I properly spoke to and consulted affected parties, such as the victim, and think how to address this. I'm aware that old cut screenshots of me discussing an assault casually has been circulating. This has caused a lot of concern about how I view things like rape and sexual assault, and I need to clear the air on that. Which he's talking about screenshots floating by. I'm gonna find the screenshots. I have them. They're gonna be on the screen, don't worry, but he's vaguely talking about it. Let's just read the rest. Those screenshots are from a conversation when I was 19. A friend had very recently been sexually assaulted, and both parties involved were still trying to figure out how to explain what happened. Me and a friend had been trying to understand it all, and on rather it was labeled as rape or sexual assault. Google and some older adults gave us conflicting and sometimes incorrect answers on this. So I believe he's saying he was told somebody had been sexually assaulted. Him and this other friend were talking about the sexual assault, trying to figure out what really happened. While they're doing this, they're asking other adults and resources on the internet information on this, which, I mean, why are older adults giving incorrect answers about this? Good on you for trying to do more research on the internet, but also the internet can be wrong sometimes, as you can see. He says, but ultimately, I came to understand how incorrect and insensitive our conclusions were, and how we shouldn't have been speculating on the details so much when our friend needed complete and total support. I have long since apologized and discussed this with the victim, and we've remained friends for years since. They have my unconditional love and support, and I'm glad they are in a much safer place now. Okay. I shall apologize once more for the heinous words and actions, and to anyone who was disturbed and felt unsafe reading them. I also encourage people to stop seeking out the victim and harassing them, which I agree, thank you. Me and Jake agree on something. That's great, Jake. I'm so glad you're not trying to have this victim be more and more harassed for something terrible that happened to them years ago, which it doesn't matter if some assault happened, some rape happened years ago, it still affects the person. I'm telling you, they will remember this, and then now they're gonna remember even more now, since the internet is bringing this. It's very difficult. I'm glad Jake is getting punishment for the internet finding this out. He's gonna get what he kind of deserves in a way, It doesn't matter if he was 19 when this happened, when he said this. He still deserves a type of consequence for this. But it's also a shame, since now people are gonna try going after the victim now, which I completely do not agree with either. Anyways, and harassing them, and they have been getting harassed and threatened since the discussion started circulating, which is very odd. I don't know, I find it a little bit odd why Jake says this. It's he's guys, since now you're bringing this up, now the victim is going to start getting harassment, which I may be just looking at this wrong. He may mean this with the sincerity in his heart, guys, please don't just, you guys are bringing this up, making the victim being harassed, but it's also kind of on Jake, And then he ends it with, I apologize once more for the stress and concern brought to people close to me as well. Alright, well, that was his response. I don't know if it can really be called an apology response, because it kind of just sounds like he's just acknowledging what happened. I don't know, Jake, this is very, usually when people are trying to take accountability for stuff, they provide their own screenshots, they provide exactly step by step what happened. So the internet, who is very, like, they want to know what happened now, that because if he's not providing these screenshots but other people are providing screenshots of what he did, it's kind of like he's being vague about it, you know? Speaking of the screenshots that he doesn't provide in his own his testimony, his response, his apology, he doesn't provide the screenshots that people are so desperately trying to figure out the context of. He doesn't provide them. Instead, other people have to provide them, which is what prompted him in the first place to come out with a response. Now, I may also still be looking at this wrong, but I mean, maybe he wanted to come out with this before, but he was 19. I don't know how old he is now. I'll show it on the screen right now, but why is there no screenshots provided? I have the screenshots right here. They're very blurry. All of them are blurry. This is the only ones I can find, but it starts with this. Jake does give a bit of context for this, which I'm glad. This is the friend he was talking to, which is Kitten Sneeze. Kitten Sneeze is her own person. I might do a video on her, like a separate video on her, or maybe I might explain some stuff here. But the friend he's talking to is Kitten Sneeze. Jake and Kitten Sneeze has some past together, but they're talking about the friend that has been sexually assaulted, and it starts with this. Jake going, I feel gross in saying this, but all Blank got was fingered, but she wasn't used. Logan was, whoever Logan is. Her boundaries were pushed once. His were pushed all the time. So he's comparing two different people with their assault. Are we serious, Jake? That is so invalidating. This isn't a contest of who hurt who worse, but from an outside looking in, Blank is the monster in this situation. Jake, what are you saying? Jake, you're calling someone who got sexually assaulted a monster. You're calling a victim a monster. What are you doing, Jake? I get you were 19 here, but just because you're 19 doesn't mean you should have some type of, you're not mature. I get it, you're not 25. Your brain isn't mentally all that there. I learned in psychology when I was a senior that in psychology, a man's brain isn't, even at 25, it isn't still fully mature. It's crazy. Jake goes on and says, sorry, I spammed your phone. I just know that if this were somehow to ever come back up, it'd be hard to fight for the truth. I don't know. I don't think it will happen. That's just me being paranoid. I can't imagine Blink wanting to. Edited. Yeah, that also scares me. That I don't want those people and their level of judgment. I'm afraid of them somehow hyping her into something drastic. But at the same time, I don't think Blink letting them cause that drastic thing would take a lot of effort. I know she's been lazy, anxious to do in the past. Then Kitten Sneeze replies, yeah, and I doubt she wants this to be public, which Jake replies, I just hate that if she were to do this, it would stuck to our careers forever, crying emoji. So he knows what he's saying is not good. He knows what, if these screenshots were ever to come out, Jake and Kitten Sneeze's career would be ruined. And I kind of doubt that Jake really cared much about Kitten Sneeze's career, because frankly I've never really heard of Kitten Sneeze. I mean, she's definitely made herself popular, which I'm aware of, but Jake is way more very much known with his songs and stuff. So yes, Jake, if these screenshots were to ever come out, your career and hers most likely would be ruined, crying emoji. And I know it sounds like I'm not really taking this seriously, but it's very typical. Why is it a lot of times song artists or just artists or anybody that's famous online, why do they tend to always turn out to be bad? It's like nobody can really be normal. Why? I mean, yeah, you can do stuff on your own, and like the public doesn't have to know everything. But when you're calling a victim of rape and sexual assault a monster, that's really bad. That's not just bad, that's horrible. You shouldn't say that. And the fact that you're even thinking that and then telling that to someone else too, which, let me make clear, Jake, this is something I should bring up. Jake has made, trigger warning, CP, he has made CP of Kitten Sneeze and this victim that they were talking about. He made drawings of them when they were still minors. I believe Jake was 18. Just because he was barely an adult, it's still very, very, very gross. That is so gross, Jake. Why would you draw this? I'll show it on the screen here too. It's censored. It's still very terrible, very awful. That's horrible. I feel so bad for the victim. I feel it's horrible, and the fact that people are harassing the victim now over these screenshots. In general, don't attack anyone. If you're gonna attack someone, fine, sure, go attack Jake, but not the victim. That's guys, don't just in general, no, just don't attack anyone. Don't attack anyone, okay? Jake having this information be out on him now is ruining his career. It's over, it's gone. His career is gone. There's not really much he can do unless if by some miracle some fairy comes down, gives him some genie comes down and gives him some 3 wishes, which he needs to take accountability correctly. That 2-page Google Doc that he did was nothing. That was nothing. That was like that was nothing, Jake. And if you want to take accountability, do this. How about you put the screenshots in your Google Doc, you name precisely what you were thinking when you said this, why you said this, you apologize. It's good. He said he's apologized in private to the victim, and as well as to Kitten Sneeze for the stuff he's did with her too. But now that the public knows this, you need to take accountability. You can go and get therapy. You can go get off the internet, which I believe he's done. He stopped posting on TikTok. He stopped posting on YouTube, Twitter, I believe Instagram as well. All his socials, they're off. So it's good he's getting offline. Thank you, Jake. But now it really sucks for the victims and anybody else who saw these, and it might have triggered people because it's not just the victim, it's other victims too. Everybody, there's so much happening in the world, in life, and people seeing this stuff. And if you're a victim and you see this, you're gonna think, oh my god, Jake, why would you say this? And it makes them feel invalidated. So please watch what you're saying, especially to like your friends too. You think they're not gonna spill this out to the internet. If you've done something wrong to a person, don't expect them, when you tell them stuff like this, they're not gonna reveal it to the public. Anyway, my heart goes out to the victim and any other victims that are watching this. My heart goes out to you. I'm so sorry that you had to see this and hear. If Jake was your favorite indie artist, well, I mean, you can still enjoy his songs. I like Jack's Toy. A lot of people probably don't. I mean, I imagine they got tired with the trend on TikTok, but his songs are pretty neat. It's just, it really sucks what he did. It's very awful, and I feel so bad for the victims and everybody. So please stay safe. Do what you need with this information. If I left anything out, please let me know without attacking me. This was also hard for me to make too, even if it sounds very jokey. It's just that's bad. In the end, what do you think? Thank you so much for watching, and please stay safe. Bye-bye.